bringing you the very latest from across the nation and around the world. A very good evening. This is your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shayan Silva.
And I'm Sonali Vanigabaduge. As the questions continue to mount, the Geneva Gate controversy continues to unravel.
We have a comprehensive report coming up on the bulletin, but before that, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
Commonwealth Secretary-General Kamlesh Sharma and President Mahinda Rajapaksa discussed Commonwealth affairs. Tax amendments proposed through the 2015 budget to reduce the cost of small engine cars. The Kandy Mahayangane road remains blocked owing to twin landslides. The Capital Maharaja organization honours Sri Lanka's victorious para-athletes at the MTV-MBC head office.
Commonwealth Secretary-General Kamlesh Sharma met with President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees this morning to brief him on the ongoing work and progress of objectives agreed upon at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Colombo last November.
A statement issued by the International Media Unit at the Presidential Secretariat notes that the Commonwealth Secretary-General Kamlesh Sharma had called the meeting a routine health check of work resulting from CHOGM 2013 and had reported to the President that the check was successful. Regarding initiatives taking place in Sri Lanka, Sharma informed the President that collaborations between the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka had been very productive. He stated that the Secretariat stands ready to continue assisting in the implementation of the recommendations of the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission as required. Sharma had also noted that the work of the Commonwealth Youth Council has been very successful thus far.
Measures are being taken to clear the Kandy Mahayangane main road, which was blocked owing to a landslide and rock slide which occurred last night. The police stated that the road will be open to the public in a few days and have advised motorists to use alternate routes.
A landslide and rock slide occurred at separate locations in the Galekali area on the A26 highway between Kandy Mahayangane at about 7:30 last night. As a result, the road was blocked at two locations, leaving 5 buses and several vehicles trapped on the stretch of the road in between. A bus which met with an accident at the time left 1 person injured. Rescue operations were carried out by officials from the Disaster Management Center, the Army and the police.
I cannot believe what happened. As soon as I stopped the bus, I felt like we were floating. I was in the driving seat. Thereafter, the bus toppled. We saw stones falling. Thereafter, a mound of dirt broke away. When we tried to reverse, another mound of dirt fell in the rear end. A mound of earth broke off. 5 to 10 minutes later, another mound of earth fell on top of the bus. A man was also buried under the earth. The man who was buried was taken to the Ududumbara hospital. Around 54 persons came in the bus. We were coming from a pilgrimage when we saw mounds of earth breaking away. It was when we stopped the bus that we saw the landslide occur. It was 8 when we informed everyone, including the RDA and police. When the RDA arrived, it was around 7 a.m.
The National Building Research Organization noted that they have identified 17 locations that are prone to landslides along the Mahayangane Kandy Road. Senior geologist of the Landslide Monitoring Unit of the DMC, Dr. Gamni Chayatissa, noted that the area in which the landslides occurred was one of the locations that were identified as landslide-prone areas. Meanwhile, the Sumanatissa village in the Badulla village in Badulla was inundated owing to the Badul Oya overflowing. According to our correspondent, more than 20 houses were inundated as a result.
This was caused by the Kuda Oya in Kalupallala, which flows from the Badulu Oya. This happens whenever there are heavy rains. This happened yesterday and the day before.
Upon instructions issued by the Divisional Secretariat, measures have been taken to relocate the displaced to safer locations. Meanwhile, several landslides occurred along the Hanguranketa Adhikarugama route owing to heavy showers experienced in the area. Landslide warnings which were issued to the Ududumbara and Madadumbara Divisional Secretariats as well as along the Kandy Mahayangane minor road have been extended till tonight.
The Sri Lanka Vehicle Importers Association says that tax amendments proposed through the 2015 budget would cause the cost of vans to reduce by about 1 million rupees.
The 2015 budget proposes a single product tax to replace 5 types of taxes that were effective in the importation of motor vehicles thus far. Vehicle importers say the tax on vans, which were about 152%, has reduced to 98%.
The cost of a vehicle like a Hiace, which is how consumers identify it, will reduce by between 1 million and 1.2 million rupees. A flat roof van will cost about 5 to 5.5 million rupees. The new tax will bring down the cost of a high roof van between 6.5 and 7 million.
Marinchigi added that the prices of other types of vans would reduce by between 500,000 and 1 million rupees. Importers also say that the prices of small engine cars will also reduce through the proposed tax regime.
We cannot see a difference in the price of hybrid vehicles, but the low-value 1000cc small cars that are imported from India and China will be about 200,000 to 300,000 rupees cheaper.
Vehicle importers also note that a significant price drop will not be seen in the case of some vehicle types.
We have a problem at present. We pay VAT according to the importation price. A clear policy on this VAT payment has not been presented to us as yet. If this VAT will not become a cost, then we have to bear. Then the prices of vehicles will reduce in the future. But if we are faced with a situation where we are unable to claim the VAT payment, then I think the prices of vehicles will increase by a certain amount.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Customs and Vehicle Importers know that although it was proposed through the budget to introduce a concession for Sri Lankan nationals abroad to import vehicles, there has been no procedure published to implement this proposal.
Day 2 of the debate on the second reading of the 2015 budget was held in Parliament today. Opening the debate today, UNP parliamentarian Kabir Hashim noted that the 2015 budget is simply a copy of an old budget.
It is the same song, and the 2015 budget is like the rap version. It is like an extended version where everything is rattled out at top speed. It is like the old budget from last year and the year before have been photocopied and turned into a rap version. It is the same story.
Why is the UNP so worried? The UNP has angered to a level where it has degraded the intelligence of people of the country to the level of the dog and a bone. Why is this? It is because they did not anticipate the major program presented through the budget for the benefit of the people.
When looking at this budget, there is a factor that is very clear. There are plenty of promises and concessions. However, unemployment has risen. What does this budget say about the Northern East? Although 6 years have lapsed since the end of the war, there is no mention of rebuilding the Kankasanthuraj sugar factory. The Palanthani chemical factory is now an army camp. There is no mention in the budget of rebuilding it. They say the Elephant Pass salt factory is functioning under the relevant ministry, but the budget does not say how much is being spent on it. Not a single job has been generated. The Skandapuram sugar factory and the Odusudan tile factory have become unusable. The president, who is the finance minister, says that he has been entrusted the country after the war and the tsunami catastrophe, has not mentioned anything in the budget about the funds being spent on these factories.
Preparations have been made to strengthen the production process in this area, which is home to so many fruits, vegetables and cash crops. The produce of rural people has increased between 2004 and 2012. The money that was earned from this produce went to the rural people.
I think the talk of providing job opportunities can be portrayed with these carrots. The promises that have been made to 200,000 youth are like these carrots. They are targeting the election and are giving carrots through the budget. The youth cannot be deceived by these carrots. He is showing carrots here, but we gave 52,000 jobs. They said we could not do it.
He cannot bring these items to the chamber. He has brought carrots. I do not know how he got past security. Even bombs could be brought in. I order that the matter be looked into.
The post-budget conference on the 2015 budget proposals organised by the National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today. Speaking at the event, the Chamber's President Sunil Vijay-Singha had this to say.
I would like to describe this budget as a future-oriented, inclusive budget. Inclusive because it has looked at many sectors. Some of the initiatives that are being taken now is really aimed at the 2020 scenario, because the world will be a different place by 2020. The industries that are competitive today may not be competitive in 5 years' time. Sri Lanka is quickly moving away from the first phase of economic development, where our competitiveness was based on cheap inputs, where it was an input-driven economy. For this country to be stable and prosperous, we can't rely only on the service economy, but we should rely on the manufacturing economy.
Speaking at a media briefing convened today, UNP General Secretary Parliamentarian Tissa Tanayaka claimed that there is a fraud taking place in the procurement of fuel.
The government is carrying out a major fraud within the fuel prices. They are about to sign a new comprehensive agreement to procure fuel for the next 2 years from two key international companies. What are these companies? PetroChina is based in Singapore. You know that this organization was found guilty of having imported 30,000 tons of substandard fuel last year. The other company is the Emirates National Oil Company. They are going to sign agreements with these two companies to purchase oil at the same price for the next 1.5 years. We ask what advantage we will receive through such agreements.
The Ministry of Petroleum Industries had this to say in response.
We have been purchasing fuel from these two companies over the past year. These two companies have supplied fuel to us without any problems. The pricing too is very fair. The prices are not determined by the corporation. It is decided by the committee responsible for purchasing fuel. An evaluation has been conducted and proposals have been put forward. This has been done by the Technical Evaluation Committee. This will be referred to the Procurement Committee, that is vetted by Cabinet, and then it will be referred to Cabinet once again. It will be implemented only if these approvals are obtained.
Now, shortly after this story aired on the main news bulletin at 7 p.m. on our sister channel Sirasa TV, trade unions in the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation elaborated further on this matter.
It was reported via the Sirasa News today that agreements were signed with the Emirates Corporation and the China Petroleum Corporation to import oil for 2 years without a tender procedure. First, as a trade union, we must make it clear that making such a procurement without calling for tenders is a totally corrupt policy. The Emirates Corporation referred to here is the ENOC company, which supplied substandard fuel. China Petroleum is the company which recently provided 90-octane petrol instead of 95-octane petrol. If the CPC or the government wanted to give the contract to these two companies, and if it was beneficial to the people, then they should have called for tenders with transparency and given the contract for the company offering the lowest price. Simply extending their contract because they have supplied fuel prior to this is a complete violation of the tender procedure, and it also deprives the people of the opportunity to purchase fuel at competitive prices through the imposition of a flat rate and a premium. It is a corrupt transaction, and there is no way in which anyone can say that this is a transparent transaction.
Welcome back. You're with News First.
JVP North Central Provincial Councillor Vasantha Samarasinghe demands that Professor G.L. Pieris immediately makes public the communication he referred to from PA Heaves Uganan of the Swiss Federal Intelligence Service with regard to the Geneva Gate controversy.
On the 21st of October, the Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Pieris, issued a statement exonerating the External Affairs Secretary of any wrongdoing, noting that allegations that the 2009 contract for the refurbishment of the residence of the permanent representative in Geneva was provided to a personality involved with the LTTE are baseless. The Minister notes that the Sri Lankan mission in Geneva obtained the services of a company owned by P.T. Thurayraja in Zurich in November 2009 to refurbish the official residence of the permanent representative. The Minister notes that on the 12th of April 2012, the head of Chancery at the mission in Geneva, U. Jauhar, had made an inquiry from Pierre-Yves Uganen of the Swiss Federal Intelligence Service regarding the person who was awarded the contract. According to Professor G.L. Pieris, Uganen had responded on the 27th of April 2012 that there was no indication that the individual in question was involved with the LTTE. Meanwhile, the Sunday Times reported yesterday that the Swiss Embassy in Colombo, responding to an email query, had indicated that the Swiss authorities are in contact with the Sri Lankan authorities in relation to whether Thurayraja or anyone affiliated with the company that carried out the renovation was arrested by the Swiss police. The Swiss Embassy had also reportedly noted that in keeping with embassy rules, it could not reveal the names of officials involved or the, quote, substance of such contacts, unquote. Following the latest development, Vasantha Samarasinghe had this to say.
We are challenging Professor G.L. Pieris to present this communication as a responsible Minister of External Affairs. Present this to the public as we did with the audit report. Make public the communication that was sent by the Swiss Federal Police. If it is an email, take a printout and present it. Ask the Secretary to your Ministry to make a statement to the media with the document. However, this should not be like the media report stating that you will make a statement in Parliament. Do not try to evade the problem. This is a grave issue.
Professor
G.L. Pieris made a statement as a clarification on the matter. When you read this statement, clearly it is evident that he is trying to say that Shenuka Seneviratne is right. However, he does not deny that such a transaction did not happen. What has the audit report looked into? 3 senior officers attached to the Auditor General Department had conducted this audit. When you look at the audit report, it is evident that there was sheer negligence and there is room for suspicion. This is a grave issue as the public's money has been utilized. Hence, Shenuka cannot go scot-free. This report shows that Shenuka was directly involved. The government is trying to safeguard her.
Meanwhile, speaking in Parliament today, the General Secretary of the United National Party, Parliamentarian Tissatha Nayaka, questioned as to how the people could have faith in transactions that are made using national finances.
How did it all begin and what are the developments? You can follow us on Twitter using hashtag GenevaGate. Follow us and join the conversation on Twitter using hashtag GenevaGate.
Sri Lanka's victorious para-athletes who brought pride to the nation at the concluded Asian Para Games were felicitated at the MTV-MBC head office in Colombo today. The Sri Lankan contingent clinched a total of 14 medals, including 1 gold at the Asian Para Games held in Incheon, South Korea.
The staff of the Capital Maharaja organization extended a warm welcome to the victorious Sri Lanka team at the MTV-MBC head office at Braybrook Place, Colombo. The athletes had a star-studded red carpet welcome and were greeted by former Test captain MP Arjuna Ranatunga, Olympic medalist Susantika Jayasinghe, Asian Games medalist Damayanti Darsha, as well as famous actors and actresses and singers. Chairman of the National Para-Olympic Committee, Brigadier Rajita Ampe Mohoti, was among the distinguished gathering that graced the occasion.
The Maharaja organization does not chase after money. We are an organization that has attempted to take sports to a new direction. This is not a beginning. We started this some time back. We have now come to a certain position. In truth, Rio 2016 is not our ending either. There is a group of people in this country who will be motivated by these medal-winning athletes. We must take this message to them. The commitment of a media service is essential to carrying this message. I am very appreciative of this program organized by Sirasa here today, and I see it as a special feature of that commitment. In order to honor athletes who were able to win medals at the Asian Games, special commemorative trophies were presented to them in line with the Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards night. Newsfirst, Eslon and ICL Marketing also awarded a cash prize of 100,000 rupees and other gifts to the athletes who emerged victorious at the Games. When my team and I won a World Cup, when Susantika won and when Darsha won, the youth in our country started taking to sports. Not everyone has to play cricket. Many people wanted to run. Everything happened because of these victories. The athletes with us here today have risen to this level.
මේ ජයග්‍රහණය හින්දා අද මෙතන ඉන්න මේ ක්‍රීඩක ක්‍රීඩිකාවන් ඒ තත්ත්වයට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
කායික ශක්තිය තිබුණාට ජීවිතේ කවදාවත්
You cannot be victorious in any field in life through physical strength alone. If you do not have aspiration, if you do not have commitment, if you do not have the self-esteem, then you will never be a victorious individual. My dear fellow athletes who participated at the Asian Para Games, there is immeasurable aspiration behind your victory. I'm deeply respectful of such programs that are undertaken by Sirasa and the Maharaja Group in all fields. I'm thankful for this.
විශේෂයෙන්ම සිරස මහරජා සමූහ ව්‍යාපාරය හැම ක්ෂේත්‍රයකම කරන්නා වූ මෙහෙවරට මම ඉතාමත් ගෞරව කරනවා.
හැංගිච්ච අපේ දරුවෝ විශේෂයෙන්
Our hidden children, there are many of you that I know personally. There are some that I do not know. I am truly thankful to Sirasa for felicitating you and for taking steps to introduce you to the country, to Asia and the world.
ඇගීමක ගැන විශේෂයෙන්ම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා.
Athletes Amara Indumani, Dumira Madhuranga Alves, Lionel Dharmasiri, Sanka Kumara, Upul Indika Chuladasa, Dinesh Deshapriya and Pradeep Sanjay clinched bronze and silver medals at the Asian Para Games. Anil Prasanna Jalat made Sri Lanka proud by clinching 2 silver medals and 1 gold medal. The Sri Lanka Para Games team were able to bag 1 gold medal, 6 silver medals and 7 bronze medals, winning a total of 14 medals at the Asian Para Games held in Incheon, South Korea.
සිරස මාධ්‍යාලය මේ වගේ දෙයක් කරපු එකට අපි ගොඩාක් සුබේම සතුටු වෙනවා. අපි වගේ ඇත්තටම සැඟවිලා ඉන්න ක්‍රීඩකයෝ මේ වගේ මාධ්‍යාලයක් ඇවිල්ලා ලෝකවාසී සියලුම දෙනාටම බලා ගන්න දැක ගන්න අවස්ථාව උදා කරලා දෙනකොට අඩුපාඩු තියෙනවා හදාගෙන ඉදිරියට යන ලොකු ගමනක් යන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
මෙවැනි දේවල් අගය කිරීම සිරස මාධ්‍ය ආයතනයෙන් ගොඩක් දුරට කරනවා. මේ වගේ දේවල් කරන එකෙන් තවත් ජයග්‍රහණ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට ගේන්න මේක බලන් ඉන්න ක්‍රීඩකයෙකුට උනත් ආසාව ඇති වෙනවා.
ඇත්තටම මේ අවස්ථාව ගැන මම ගොඩක් සතුටු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලයට සියලුම කළමනාකාරීත්වයට පැරා ක්‍රීඩිකාවක් හැටියට මම ඕගොල්ලෝ හැමෝටම මේ ස්තුතිය පුද කරන්න කැමතියි.
මගේ ජීවිතේ පළවෙනි වතාවකට මේ වගේ මාධ්‍ය ආයතනයකට ඇහිලි වෙලා මේ වගේ ලොකු පිළිගැනීම ලබා දුන්නේ ගැන ඒක නම් මට කියන්න බැරි සතුටුයි මේ කැපිටල් මහරජා ආයතනයේට. කියන්නේ ගොඩාක්ම ස්තුතියි.
අපි හිතුවේ නෑ මේ වගේ මාධ්‍යයක මේ වගේ දෙයක් කරයි කියලා. නමුත් ඒ දේ අපිට ලැබුණා. අපිට ගොඩාක් සන්තෝෂයි. සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලයට බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
අපේ ජයග්‍රහණය අගය කිරීම පිළිබඳව සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලයට අපි බෙහෙවින් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා.
Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa criticized members of parliament today for not being present in the chamber when their questions are taken up and subject ministers for not being present to respond to the questions.
15 questions had been included in the parliament agenda today in anticipation of oral responses. However, only one of these questions was answered.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මම අහනවා. කල් ඉල්ලන්න නැතුව ඒකට හරි උත්තරේ දෙන්න. මේක දීර්ඝ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ නිසා ගරු එමෙතුමා සිටිය යුතුයි සතියක් කල්
ලෝක වාර්තාව.
මොකද ලෝක වාර්තාව විපක්ෂයේ ප්‍රශ්න ඇසීමට නොපැමිණීම. ඒකද ලෝක වාර්තාව.
ඒක දෙපැත්තම එක වගේ මට පේන්නේ.
මන්ත්‍රීව 4 දෙනෙක්ට විරුද්ධව නඩු දැම්මේ නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ සියල්ලම උසාවියට ගිහින් තියෙනවා. මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු වරප්‍රසාද උල්ලංඝනය කරපු එක ගැන විශේෂයෙන්.
හොඳයි දැන් මේක දෙපැත්තම පුරුද්දක් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
අහන එක්කලා ඉන්නෙත් නැහැ පිළිතුරු දෙන එක්කලා ඉන්නෙත් නැහැ. දැන් අපි මේ தත්ත්වය වෙනස් කරගමු. හොඳයි.
ඊමට නෙමෙයි අද රවි කරුණානායකගේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තර දෙන්න බැරි එතුමාට සිතාසිය වෙලා තියෙනවා උසාවිය පෙනී හිටින්න කියලා. ඒ වගේ മന്ത്രിවරු 4-5 දෙනෙක් අද නැහැ.
අපි
කනගාටු වෙන තත්ත්වය එන මම කල්.
හොඳයි.
Attorneys at law making submissions at the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court today said that elected representatives of the people do not have any obstacles in visiting any public institution. Lawyers representing 4 opposition MPs, including Ravi Karunanayaka, Ajit Pereira, Nalin Bandara and 2 other persons, made these submissions to court today.
The MPs were produced in court by the Slave Island Police today on charges that they had forcefully entered a property on Morgan Street at the Colombo port and had assaulted an individual within the premises. Lawyers representing the suspects in court today noted that their clients had visited the location upon being informed that premises belonging to the state were being used to prepare hoardings, posters and other propaganda material for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The Slave Island Police produced a document in court today claiming that the premises were not owned by the state and that it was leased to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. However, lawyers pointed out that the document was not regarding a lease and that it was a separate document. The Fort Magistrate Thilina Gamage ordered that the 4 MPs and 2 other suspects be released on bonds of 200,000 rupees each and ordered them to appear in court again on the 8th of November.
බී වාර්තාවේ පැමිණිලිකරු විසින් ප්‍රකාශ කරලා තිබුණා එම ස්ථානය.
Producing the B report, the complainants claimed that the location had been given to the SLFP trade union of the Ports Authority to engage in politics. That is surprising and impossible. We made submissions regarding this and noted that there was no legal provision for a complaint to be lodged.
ඉල්ලීම උනේ මෙවැනි පැමිණිල්ලක් ගුළු කිරීමට නීතිමය ප්‍රතිපාදනයක් නැති බව. වෘත්තීය සමිතිය ඉල්ලීම
While we went there to see what was happening on the request of the trade union, they came to court today and claimed that we broke the padlocks and had attacked people inside. This is the only thing that this lying government can say. If they are working, then how can they padlock the premises? We want to reveal the truth. We will continue with our investigative inspections fearlessly across the country.
රටේ හැම කොනකම ගෙනියනවා. මම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ට ආරාධනා කළා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අධිකාරිය සතු දේපල සඳහා නිදහස් සඳහන රජේ.
I invited the MPs to come there after informing them that property of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority was being used for UPFA politics. The incident that occurred on the 21st is mentioned in the duty book. The Ports Authority is in possession of this book. The report says that 8 persons are being assigned to special duty at the Makalam dock. The Sri Lanka Ports Authority is spending more than 1 billion on the presidential election. I have the documentation to show to the media.
3 4 5 6 7 8 දිනක් රාජකාරී යොදවනවා කෝටි 100කට වඩා මේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයට ශ්‍රී ලංකා වරා අධිකාරිය වියදම් කරනවා. මට ඒවට පෙන්නන්න මාධ්‍යයට පෙන්නන්න ලියකියවිලි තියෙනවා.
A tense situation arose today between wildlife officers from the Akarai-Pattu division and villagers from Digavapia. The heated situation took place when officers from the Department of Wildlife arrived at the location to demarcate boundaries. Wildlife officers arrived at the location to demarcate boundaries on a 5-acre land in the Digavapia village. The Deputy Divisional Wildlife Officer in charge of the area stated that subtropical forest land in the area comes under the purview of the Forest Conservation Department. Thereby, a group of wildlife officers arrived at the location to mark boundary lines. However, area residents protested against this action.
අපි මේ කුලිය කරලා අපි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. ගිහිල්ලා පොඩ ගොඩ වෙලා බලන්නකෝ. මේ කැලේ කැපුවේ නිකන් දවසට රුපියල් 1000 ගානේ දීලා කැලේ කැපේ මිනිස්සු දාලා. අපිට තියෙන පඩියකට නෙමෙයි. වන ජීවියකට අපි බැනලා වැඩකුත් නෑ. අපි කිසිකට බාරි ගහන්න නෑ. අපි මේක රැඳෙන්නේ කැලේ කියනවා. දැන් අපිට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපේ ආරක්ෂාව අපේ සංකේත ගන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. පන්සල් සීමාව තියෙනවනේ අක්කර 11000 ගාන. ඕකේ මා ඉන් ටික ගහලා දෙන්නකෝ අපට. අතෝතේ මිනිස්සු කොට කපලත් මේ මිනිස්සු දාලා ගියේ නෑ. අපි මේ නාගත පරපුර ටික ඉඩම් රැකලා දෙන්න එනවා. මේ අලි ගහලා මැරණේවා ගැන කවුද කියන්නේ?
Following the situation, the wildlife officials went away without marking the boundaries.
Action TV is up next.
On the 10th of June this year, the Auditor General informed the Director General of the Central Cultural Fund to immediately halt payments to an individual who is said to be an advisor to the subject minister for the procurement of 500,000 DVDs containing documentary-style features. The Auditor General had noted that it was necessary to conduct an inquiry into this transaction. However, notwithstanding the Auditor General's order, on 2 occasions the Director General of the CCF in his own handwriting had ordered the fund's finance director to make the payments. The supplier as such was paid 51.1 million rupees for the 500,000 DVDs. On the last occasion that responsible officials from the CCF were called for the Committee on Public Enterprises or COP in Parliament, the committee had instructed them to expedite appointments to vacant positions in the CCF. Instead of carrying out these orders, the Director General of the CCF has since made 2 recruitments in violation of orders issued by the Board of Control of the CCF as well. In addition, the Director has provided a record number of positions to his wife. She currently holds 12 positions. The Director General's wife, who is qualified to hold the position of an Assistant Director, has been given the position of Director in charge of Sigiriya among others. There are occasions on which the daily income at Sigiriya exceeds 10 million rupees. While the income is generated through the sale of tickets, the individual responsible for the issuing of tickets happens to be related to the Director General. The Director General himself had on a previous occasion informed the subject minister in writing that a fraud of about 80 million rupees had taken place around ticket sales for Sigiriya. The Director General had made this revelation when he was the Director in charge of the Northwestern Province in the Central Cultural Fund. Tomorrow on Action TV, we take a look at the amazing wage structure and privileges granted to the Operations Director of the Central Cultural Fund.
The case pertaining to the unauthorized use of the tea brand trademarks Imona and the Canary device owned by A.F. Jones, a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaj organisation, was taken up before Colombo Fort Magistrate Tilinagamage today.
Today the matter case came up in court, and the directors of the accused company were present in court on summons. The court ordered that the directors only for today to place personal bail. Thereafter, on the next court date, in the 24th of November, they were asked to provide 2 sureties who are 2 of their closest family members each, along with the Grama Seva's certificates when they were present in court as sureties. The court today the accused have filed a written submission in court in respect to a certain legal point, and the court has provided a date of 24th November for the case to be called up in court again. On that date, we will be replying with our written submissions.
The Maharaja organization, who are the plaintiffs in the case that was heard today, have requested an injunction through a case being heard at the Colombo Commercial High Court. Since the search warrant and summons were obtained from court without informing court of this fact, we submitted on behalf of Vintage Tea Company that the summons be reissued. The magistrate accepted our premise and noted that if there were objections, the Maharaja organization could make written submissions within a month. At the same time, the magistrate allowed the directors of the Vintage Tea Company, who appeared in court today, to leave court after they signed personal bonds.
A policy guide on criminalizing migrant smuggling, compiled as per the Bali process on people smuggling, trafficking in persons and related transnational crimes, was launched in Colombo today.
This policy guide has been developed by the Bali Process members, supported by the Regional Support Office and led by the Bali Process Policy Guides Drafting Committee. Speaking at the event, the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, Kamalini De Silva, spoke of the importance of strong laws and regulations to combat human trafficking.
We firmly believe the importance of having strong laws and regulations in place to deal with the evolving methods and the modus operandi of human smugglers and traffickers. Trafficking in persons, a subject of growing political concern, is recognized by migration experts and policymakers to be undermining the international collaborative efforts to produce ordered migration flows.
Opposition leader of the Northern Provincial Council, S. Tawarasa, says that the Provincial Council should be named the Resolution Council instead of Provincial Council. He made this remark at a media briefing convened in Colombo today.
From 1st of October today, out of 17 sittings, first sitting, of course, no, this was only a formality. Then one sitting, the whole day went on this passing the statutes. In the last sitting, they had a special sitting for discussing on the land issues. So, leaving the 3 out, 14 sittings, they have passed more than 150 resolutions. I have got all the resolutions here. What those resolutions are? Requesting the UN to do this, request something matters, anybody can read it and see, Tamil Thariyum Basing, you can read it and see. Subjects not relevant to the Provincial Council or the 35 subjects listed in the Provincial Council list. They are taking resolutions, resolutions after resolutions, resolutions after resolutions. Meaningless resolutions. Somebody has now named it Resolution Council, not Provincial Council. This is what they are doing. Every meeting there will be peak of resolution, 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 resolution.
2500ක් තිබිච්ච එක 4000කට තියෙන නරක දෙයක් නෙමෙයිනේ. ඒක తాවකාලික කරන්න එපා හැබැයි. ඔබතුමාගේ බිරිඳ මේ අයවැය ගැන මොකද්ද මේ කියලා තියෙන කතාව? ඒ මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ බංකොලොත්කම මේ පේන්නේ. ලංකාවේ විදේශ ඇමති කවුද කියලාත් සමහර රටවල විදේශ ඇමතිවරුන්ට හොයාගන්න බැරි වෙලා.
Well, we wrap up your primetime news bulletin for tonight with a look at some footage of a car robbery that took place at a housing complex in Ramya Place, Maligawatta. I'm Sonali Manikbadage.
I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.